I finally got my dream home, then my family started moving in without asking. On closing day, my 7-year-old said, "Grandma told me this is our house now, and Aunt Bree is taking my room." She said it like it was a fun surprise, but her eyes were searching my face. Like she wasn't sure it was actually good news. I didn't shout. I didn't grab my phone and call my mom. I didn't let my kids see my panic. I made one small change. I opened a note on my phone called Home Timeline, and I typed her sentence word for word. Because I realized something instantly. My family wasn't celebrating my win. They were planning my surrender. My name is Sierra. I'm 31. I live outside San Antonio, in a neighborhood where the summers are long, the lawns are stubborn, and everyone has a doorbell camera, even if they don't admit it. My daughter is Ellie. She's 7. Funny, observant, and the kind of kid who repeats adult sentences exactly as she heard them. My mom, Linda, is 58. She's charming, helpful, and deeply allergic to the idea that I can be independent without her approval. And my sister Brianna, I'm going to call her Bree, is 26. She's loud, social, and always one step away from needing a fresh start. I bought my house after a divorce. Not a messy, screaming divorce. Just the kind where you realize you're carrying the relationship on your back, and you're tired. After I moved into a small apartment with Ellie, I made myself a promise. I was going to build something stable. I worked extra hours. I took side gigs. I learned to say no to impulse spending. I still remember the moment my lender emailed me the pre-approval. Email subject: "Congratulations, you're pre-approved." I sat on my couch with Ellie asleep beside me, and I cried quietly into my sleeve. Not because it was a mansion. Because it was mine. When I finally found the house, it was modest. 3 bedrooms. A small backyard. A kitchen that needed paint. But it had something I hadn't had in years. Peace. The first person I told was my mom. That was my mistake. Because the second I told Linda, she didn't say, "I'm proud of you." She said, "What area?" Then, "How much?" Then, "Did you put my name on anything to help you qualify?" I laughed, thinking she was joking. "No," I said, "it's just me." My mom went quiet for half a second. Then she said, bright voice, "Well, we'll see. We'll see." It sounded small. It wasn't. It was the beginning of her treating my house like a family decision she hadn't signed off on yet. Bree's reaction was worse. She called me the day my offer was accepted. "Okay," she said, breathless. "So which room is mine?" I laughed. "None," I said. "It's my house." Bree laughed too, like I was being silly. "Stop," she said. "Mom told me you're getting a 3-bedroom. Ellie doesn't need 2 rooms. Ellie doesn't need 2 rooms." Like, my child's comfort was negotiable. I kept my voice calm. "1 room is Ellie's," I said. "1 is mine, 1 is for life." Life meaning homework, guests, storage, whatever. Bree snorted. "Life," she repeated. "Okay, HGTV." Then she said, casually, "I've been needing a fresh start anyway." I didn't respond. Because if you respond, it becomes a discussion. And my family loves discussions that end with me caving. Closing day arrived on a Friday. Ellie and I took a picture in front of the title office sign, smiling like we were in a commercial. I remember the smell of the lobby, coffee, and printer paper. The agent slid the keys across the table. And I felt this warm, solid feeling in my chest. I did it. Then my mom called. Linda's voice was bright. "Okay," she said, "I'm going to come by with Bree after you get the keys." I hesitated. "Mom," I said, "I want the first night to be just me and Ellie." Silence. Then my mom laughed, like I'd said something cute. "Oh, honey," she said, "we're family." We're family. That phrase is my mom's master key. It unlocks boundaries. I said gently, "Tomorrow, not today." My mom exhaled like she was disappointed in me. "Fine," she said, "tomorrow." Then she added, like it was an afterthought, "And make sure you ask the realtor how to add family to the deed if you need help. Add family to the deed." On my closing day, my stomach tightened. I didn't argue. I said, "I'll talk to you tomorrow," and hung up. Ellie and I drove to the house. We stepped inside. Empty rooms. New carpet smell. Sunlight in the hallway. Ellie ran to the back bedroom and said, "This is mine." I smiled. "Yes," I said. "This is yours." Then, while I was opening a box cutter, Ellie said the sentence again, like she wanted to confirm it. "Grandma told me this is our house now," she said, "and Aunt Bree is taking my room." I sat down on the living room floor. Not dramatically. Just because my legs got weak. "Ellie," I said softly, "did Grandma say that today?" Ellie nodded. "In the car," she said. "She said we're all moving in." All moving in. I took a slow breath. "Thank you for telling me," I said. "You didn't do anything wrong." Ellie looked relieved. Then she said something that made my stomach drop again. "She said not to tell you yet," Ellie whispered. "Not to tell me yet." My mom had asked my child to keep a secret from me about my own house. I opened Home Timeline and typed it all. Then I did the calmest thing I could do. I changed the plan. I didn't unpack. Not fully. I unpacked only what Ellie needed for one night. Pajamas, toothbrush, her stuffed bunny. Then I drove us back to the apartment and slept there. Because I suddenly didn't want my first night in my house to be the start of a war. The next morning, my mom texted. Text 8:06 a.m. Mom, we're coming at 10. Bree wants to measure her room. Her room! I stared at the text, heart pounding. And I knew, if I didn't set the boundary right now, with no wiggling, I wasn't just buying a house. I was buying an extension of their control. At 9:58 a.m., my Ring camera pinged. Motion detected, driveway. I wasn't there, because I'd chosen to sleep at the apartment. But my new house was already being treated like a group project. I opened the live view and saw my mom's SUV in the driveway. Bree hopped out first, carrying a tape measure like she was a contractor. My mom walked up to the door holding a grocery bag, like she was bringing help. Then she did something that made my stomach go cold. She took out a key. A key. And she tried to unlock my front door. It didn't work because I hadn't given her one. She tried again, jiggling it like the door was being difficult. Then she knocked, hard, like the house had personally disrespected her. I watched from my phone, breathing through my nose. If you were me, would you drive there and explode? Because I wanted to. Instead, I made the second small change. I called my realtor. Not my mom. My realtor. Hey, I said, voice calm. Did anyone request extra keys at closing? My realtor sounded confused. No, she said. You got the set. Why? I said, my mom is at my door with a key. A pause. Then my realtor said, that's not normal. No, it wasn't. I ended the call and texted my mom. Me, 10:03 a.m. Why do you have a key? 3 dots. Then my mom replied, Mom, 10:04 a.m. Relax, your dad had a spare maid, safety. My dad had been dead for 3 years. That's not a typo. My dad was gone. So my mom had just lied without even thinking. I stared at the screen and my whole body went cold. I typed back. Me, 10:05 a.m. Dad didn't make a key. Stop lying. Leave my property. My mom responded instantly. Mom, 10:05 a.m. Property. Wow. Property. Like the concept offended her. Then Bree texted me too. Bree, 10:06 a.m. Open the door, Sierra. This is embarrassing. Embarrassing. Like my boundary was the problem. I didn't respond. I watched the camera. My mom stepped back, called someone, and I saw her mouth, clearly, say my name. Then she looked up at the camera and waved. Not friendly. Performative. Like I know you're watching. Then they left. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with an email from USPS. Email subject, change of address confirmation. I stared at it. Because I hadn't submitted a change of address yet. I opened it. Name on the request. Linda R. Forwarding from my mom's address. Forwarding to my new house. My mom had tried to forward her mail to my house. Not because she was moving. Because she was planting a claim. I opened Home Timeline and typed, USPS change of address attempted by mom. Then I called USPS immediately and flagged it as unauthorized. The woman on the phone was calm. She said, we can cancel it, but you should also secure your mailbox and consider informed delivery. Informed delivery. Another modern tool that turns vibes into facts. I signed up that day. And I ordered a locking mailbox. Not because I wanted drama. Because I wanted my life to stop being easy to access. That afternoon, I finally went to the house with Ellie. I kept her close. I walked through the rooms and tried to feel joy again. But joy is hard when you feel watched. Ellie asked, quietly, is Grandma mad? I knelt down. Grandma's not in charge of this house, I said gently. I am. Ellie nodded like she understood, but her eyes still looked worried. That's when I realized the real harm wasn't my mom's entitlement. It was the way she'd already pulled my kid into it. I made another small change. I told Ellie a rule. Anytime any adult tells you to keep a secret from me, I said, you tell me right away. Ellie nodded fast. Okay, she whispered. That night, my mom sent a long text. Mom, 9:12 p.m. I'm hurt. I raised you. I sacrificed. Bree is struggling. Family shares. Don't be selfish. I read it twice. Then I did something different than my old self. I didn't explain. I didn't defend. I replied with one sentence. Me, 9:16 p.m. My answer is no. Do not come to the house without an invitation. My mom didn't reply. Bree did. Bree, 9:19 p.m. So you're choosing a house over your sister. Choosing a house. Like it was an object, not stability. I didn't reply. Because I'd learned something. If you argue with people who live on guilt, they will keep your mouth moving until you're exhausted. So I stopped moving my mouth. And I started moving my protections. The next morning, informed delivery showed a piece of mail arriving addressed to Linda. At my address, it hadn't even been forwarded properly yet, and somehow, it was already happening. I drove to the house and checked the mailbox. There it was. A credit card offer. In my mom's name. At my house? I felt sick. Because that's how it starts. Mail. Then accounts. Then claims. Then I live here. I opened Home Timeline and took a photo of the envelope. Then my neighbor, an older man named Mr. Collins, walked over. He said, "Hey, just so you know, your mom was here yesterday." My stomach dropped. "What?" I said. Mr. Collins nodded. "She said she was moving in," he said. Asked me which trash day is. I stared at him. Because now my mom wasn't just messaging me. She was building a story in the neighborhood. A public narrative. And public narratives are harder to undo than private lies. That night, I called an attorney. Not to sue anyone. To learn the right steps. The attorney said one sentence that I wrote down immediately. "Possession is not the same as ownership," she said, "but don't let them establish residency." Establish residency. I didn't sleep much after that. Because I realized my housewarming wasn't going to be balloons and pizza. It was going to be boundaries and paperwork. And the next message I got proved it. Text 11:38 p.m. Mom, Bree's lease ends Friday. We're bringing her things. Don't make this ugly. Friday. 3 days away. And my mother had already chosen a date for my surrender. I took Thursday off work. Not for a cute moving day. For defense. I met my locksmith at 9 a.m. New locks. New keys. No copies floating around my family. The locksmith asked casually, "New homeowner." I smiled, tight. "Yeah," I said, "new boundaries too." He laughed like it was a joke. It wasn't. After the locks were changed, I installed 2 more cameras. Not to be paranoid. To be clear. Then I did something that felt strangely empowering. I put my name on everything. Utilities. Trash service. HOA account. Because the more official mine became, the less space there was for family mythology. At noon, I got a group text from my mom. Group chat, "Mom, family meeting tonight 6 p.m. We need to talk about the house." The house. Not your house. The house. Bree replied with a thumbs up. Like this was a committee decision. I stared at my phone and felt my old self rise, the one who used to show up and try to keep everyone calm. Then I remembered what I'm trying to teach Ellie. Secrets and pressure are not love. So I replied, "Me. No meeting. If you need to say something, text it." My mom called immediately. I didn't answer. I let it go to voicemail. Voicemail summary, "Mom. Sierra, you're making a huge mistake. People will think you're ungrateful. Bree needs you. People will think." There it was. My mom's real fear. Not Bree's housing. Her image. At 3:22 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Email subject. Event confirmed. Housewarming. Saturday 2 p.m. I stared at it. Because I did not plan a housewarming. I opened it. It was from an online invitation platform. Host name, Linda RX/. Event title, Sierra's new home celebration. Guest list, 34 people. Including my aunt, my mom's church friends, and Bree's boyfriend's family. My mom had planned a housewarming at my house. In my name. Without asking. And she'd used it to create witnesses. Witnesses that would see Bree's boxes there and assume it was normal. I forwarded the email to myself and added it to Home Timeline. Then I called my aunt. "Did you get an invitation?" I asked. My aunt laughed. "Yes," she said. "Linda said you were overwhelmed and she's taking over." Taking over. She said it like it was a kindness. I kept my voice calm. "That invitation wasn't from me," I said. "Please don't come." My aunt went quiet. "What do you mean?" she asked. I said, "I mean my mom is trying to move my sister into my house." I said no. Silence. Then my aunt whispered, "Oh. Oh." The sound of someone realizing they were about to attend a takeover disguised as a party. That evening, I sat Ellie at the kitchen table with crayons. I said, "We're going to practice something." Ellie looked up. I said, "If Grandma says, 'Open the door,' what do you say?" Ellie whispered, "I have to ask you." I nodded. "And if Aunt Bree says, 'Let me in, it's my room,' what do you say?" Ellie looked scared. I softened my voice. "You say, 'This is my home with my mom,'" I said. "And you come get me." Ellie nodded slowly. Then she said something that made my throat tighten. "Are they going to yell?" she asked. I swallowed. "Maybe," I said. "But you'll be safe." Then I texted my mom. "Me, you are not hosting anything at my house. Cancel the invite. Do not bring Bree's things. Do not show up Friday." My mom replied with a single line. "Mom, you're really doing this." I replied, calm. "Me. Yes." Friday morning, 8:11 a.m., my Ring camera pinged. Motion detected, driveway. My mom's SUV. Bree's car behind it. And a moving truck. A moving truck. My stomach went cold, but my voice stayed steady. Ellie was eating cereal. I didn't want her to see me panic. I made another small change. I hit record on the camera app. Because if this got weird, I wanted it documented. Then I stepped outside, closed the door behind me, and stood on my porch. My mom got out smiling, like this was a normal move-in day. Bree hopped out with a box in her arms. Linda said, bright voice, "Good morning. Let's not make this harder than it needs to be." I stared at her. "It doesn't need to be hard," I said. "Put the boxes back. Leave." Bree scoffed. "Where am I supposed to go?" she snapped. I nodded once. "Not here," I said. My mom's smile dropped. She switched to a real voice. "You have 3 bedrooms," she said. "This is selfish." I kept my voice calm. "This is my mortgage," I said. "This is my deed. This is my home." My mom waved her hand like paperwork was rude. "Family doesn't do this," she said. I said, "Family doesn't steal." Bree's face went red. My mom stepped closer and lowered her voice, like she was trying to intimidate me quietly. "If you don't let her in," she whispered, "we'll tell everyone why." Why? That threat made my stomach flip. Because I knew what why meant. They'd paint me as cruel. They'd say I abandoned Bree. They'd say I'm selfish. They'd create a narrative that made them the victims. And in the past, that would have worked. But now I had something stronger than their story. I had receipts. And I had a house. I looked at my mom and said, "Clear. If you don't leave, I'm calling for help." My mom's eyes widened. "Over your own mother," she hissed. I nodded. "Over my own home," I said. Bree laughed like I was bluffing and stepped toward the door with her box. I stepped in front of the door. Bree leaned in and said, "Low. You can't stop me." And that's when my neighbor, Mr. Collins, walked out onto his porch and watched. Witness. Audience. The very thing my mom likes to control. My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed steady. "Yes," I said, "I can." And in that moment, my mom realized this wasn't a guilt conversation. It was a boundary conversation. She snapped at the moving truck driver, told him to wait, then turned to me with a fake calm. "Fine," she said. "We'll talk inside." I shook my head. "No," I said. My mom's face hardened. Then she said the sentence that revealed the real plan. "If we can't talk inside," she said, "then I guess we do it at your housewarming." My stomach dropped. Because she still planned to hold Saturday. Still planned to bring people. Still planned to force me to perform nice in front of witnesses. And I knew the next 24 hours would decide everything. I didn't wait for Saturday. Because if you wait for an ambush, you've already lost half the fight. Friday afternoon, I emailed the invitation platform and reported the event as unauthorized. Then I messaged every person I could. Not a dramatic paragraph. One sentence. "Hi, just a heads up, the housewarming invite wasn't from me. Please don't come. I'm handling a family boundary issue." Some people replied with support. Some people didn't reply at all, which is also information. Then I did the most grown-up thing I've ever done. I called my mom's pastor. Not to gossip. To prevent my mom from turning the church into an audience. I said, calmly, "I'm not asking you to take sides. I'm asking you not to attend an event at my home. It wasn't approved." The pastor sounded uncomfortable. He said, "Thank you for telling me." That was enough. Saturday morning, my mom texted like nothing had happened. Mom, 9:02 a.m. Bree will be there at 1:30. Please have snacks. People are driving. I stared at that text and felt my pulse in my throat. Then I replied, "Me, 9:05 a.m. No one is coming inside. Do not come. If you come, you will be turned away." My mom sent one word. Mom. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like my boundary was the betrayal. At 1:12 p.m., ring notification. Motion detected, driveway. 2 cars. Not my mom's. My aunt's minivan. And my mom's friend's SUV. Then my mom's SUV pulled in behind them like a parade captain. I watched through the camera and felt my hands go cold. Because my mom had done it. She'd brought people. She'd brought witnesses. Ellie was inside coloring, humming to herself. I didn't want her to see a crowd at our door. So I did another small change. I turned on a loud kids movie in the living room and took her to her bedroom. "Headphones and crayons," I whispered. "You're safe. Stay here." Ellie nodded, eyes wide. Then I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. My mom climbed out smiling, arms open like we were in a commercial. "Surprise," she sang. "Everyone wanted to support you." Support. She called it support. Bree got out next, holding a big gift bag. My aunt walked up with a casserole dish. The neighbor's curtains shifted. Audience? My mom's favorite weapon. I kept my voice calm, but loud enough for witnesses. "This is not a housewarming," I said. "I did not invite anyone. Please leave." My aunt froze. My mom's friend blinked. Bree's smile cracked. My mom hissed quietly. "Don't do this in front of people." I looked at her. "You did this in front of people," I said. My aunt stepped forward and said softly, "Sierra, what's going on?" I kept it simple. "My mom is trying to move Bree into my house," I said. I said no. My aunt's eyes widened. She looked at my mom. "Linda," she said, "is that true?" My mom laughed, high and fake. "Oh my God," she said. "She's exaggerating. Bree just needs a temporary place." Temporary. The most permanent word in toxic families. Bree jumped in, voice sweet for witnesses. "I don't even want to be here," she said. "I just have nowhere else." I nodded. "I understand that's hard," I said, "but my answer is still no." Bree's face changed. Her sweet mask dropped. "So you're going to make me homeless," she snapped. I kept my voice calm. "I'm not making you anything," I said. "You're an adult, and this isn't your house." My mom stepped forward like she owned the porch. She pointed at the door. "Open it," she said through her teeth. "We'll talk like family." I shook my head. "No," I said. My mom turned to the witness's instant victim voice. "I sacrificed everything for my daughters," she said loud, "and now she treats me like a stranger." My aunt looked uncomfortable. My mom's friend looked confused. Bree started crying, big dramatic tears. And I realized, this was their play. Make it emotional. Make me look cold. So I did the one thing that breaks a performance. I offered a practical solution. "I will pay for one night at a motel," I said, loud enough for everyone. "And I'll help Bree apply for short-term rental options." My mom blinked, thrown off. Because I didn't say, "Fine, come in." I said, "I'll help, but not by surrendering my home." Bree snapped, "I don't want your charity." My mom hissed, "See, she's humiliating you." I nodded. "No," I said, "I'm offering support with boundaries." Then Bree did the boldest thing of the whole day. She walked up to my door and tried the handle. In front of everyone. Like the house owed her entry. It didn't open. Because I changed the locks. Bree yanked again. Still nothing. My mom's face went red. She whispered, furious, "You changed the locks." I looked at her and said, "Calm." "Yes." My mom turned to the crowd and forced a laugh. "She's being dramatic," she said. "She thinks we're criminals." I didn't argue. I did the last calm step. I held up my phone. Not to threaten. To show reality. "I'm asking one time," I said. "Please leave." My aunt stepped back, eyes on my mom. My mom's friend muttered, "We should go." Bree screamed, "You're ruining my life." And my mom, in the loudest voice she'd used all day, said, "You're not the kind of daughter I raised." That line hurt. Not because it was true. Because it was designed to. And I could feel my old self trying to fold. So I did a tiny commentary to myself, right there, that I wish I'd done years earlier. Here's what I should have noticed earlier. Love that requires your silence isn't love. It's control. I looked at my mom and said, "Calm." "Then you raised me wrong." The crowd went quiet. My aunt covered her mouth. My mom froze like she couldn't believe I'd said it. Then she did the only thing she had left. She grabbed Bree's arm and said, "Fine, we'll go, but don't ask us for anything again." My aunt whispered, "Linda." My mom ignored her. They piled back into the cars. Bree slammed her door. The driveway cleared. And I stood on my porch shaking, not from fear, from adrenaline. Because I knew something. This wasn't the end. This was the moment my mom would choose either accountability or escalation. And my phone buzzed before I even made it back inside. Text, 2:47 p.m., Mom. "You'll regret this. Wait until you see what Bree posts." My stomach dropped. Because of course. If they can't control your door, they try to control your story. Bree posted within an hour. A photo of herself crying in the back seat. Caption, "When your own sister turns her back on you. Some people love money more than family." Money. She made it about money. Not boundaries. Not consent. Not my kid. Not the fake housewarming ambush. Just money. And in the comments, people were reacting without context. "Praying for you." That's heartbreaking. Family is everything. My chest tightened. Because this is the part that breaks people. Not the boundary itself. The smear campaign after. My old self would have written a long post explaining everything. But I didn't. Because I wasn't trying to win on the internet. I was trying to protect my home. So I did two things. 1, I saved screenshots. 2, I stayed quiet publicly. And I texted my mom privately. "Me, do not post about me, do not mention Ellie, remove it." My mom replied, "Mom, she's allowed to share her feelings." Share her feelings. That phrase is what people use when they want to spread misinformation without consequences. I didn't argue. I called my attorney again. The attorney didn't sound surprised. She said, "Document everything, and if they attempt entry again, you can request a formal trespass warning." Formal. That word mattered. Because my mom only respects things when they have letterhead. The next day, informed delivery showed another envelope addressed to Linda arriving. Again. At my address? I went to the mailbox and found it. It wasn't a credit offer. It was a bill. A medical bill. Which meant my mom was actively trying to anchor herself to my address. So I drove straight to my mom's house, not to argue, to deliver. I knocked. My mom opened the door with a smug expression. Like she'd been waiting to win. I held up the envelope. This came to my house, I said calmly. Fix it. My mom tilted her head. You can just bring it to me, she said. I stared at her. No, I said. You can change your address back. My mom's smile fell. Why are you being like this? She hissed. I took a breath. I'm being like this because you tried to move into my home through paperwork, I said. My mom scoffed. You think you're so special now, she said. Little homeowner. That insult would have crushed me before. Now it just confirmed my choice. I said, I'm leaving, and I walked away. That week, I met Bree once, only once, in a public place, a coffee shop near a grocery store. Middle of the day. I brought no speech. Just one question. Do you actually believe you deserve my daughter's room? I asked. Bree laughed like it was obvious. Ellie can share, she said. Kids share. I stared at her. She doesn't need to share her safety, I said. Bree rolled her eyes. You're acting like I'm dangerous, she said. I kept my voice calm. You are, I said, to my peace. Bree's face hardened. You're not going to last, she said. The mortgage will crush you. You'll come crawling back. There it was. Not concern. A curse. I stood up. This conversation is over, I said. And I left. Not because I won. Because I refused to stay in a conversation designed to shrink me. Final update. It's been a year. I still live in the house. I painted the kitchen myself. Ellie's room is hers, full of soft lights and books, not guilt. My mom and sister are low contact now. Not because I hate them. Because I finally learned the difference between love and access. My mom still tries sometimes. A hey sweetheart text. A random I miss you. But the second she pushes for something, I say no. Calmly. And I stop answering. And something changed in me that I didn't expect. I stopped feeling like I had to prove my no. Because once you realize someone only respects you when you comply, your job isn't to convince them. Your job is to protect yourself anyway. Ellie asked me one night while we were putting away laundry. Why doesn't Grandma come over? She asked. I sat on the bed and kept it kid safe. Grandma and I are learning to respect each other, I said. And my job is to keep our home peaceful. Ellie nodded like that made sense. Then she said, quietly, I like it peaceful. And that was it. That was my graduation photo. Not a stage. Not a cap. Just my kid feeling safe. If you're listening and your family treats your milestones like community property, hear me. You don't owe anyone your home just because you share blood. You can be kind. You can offer help. But you don't have to surrender the one thing you worked for. Here's what we learned from this. First, your big win will reveal who respects you and who only respects access. Second, guilt is not a contract. Just because someone sacrificed in the past doesn't mean they own your future. Third, document early. Texts, emails, address changes, invites, any small paper trail can become a big problem later. Fourth, if kids are involved, keep them out of secrets and power plays. A child should never be recruited into adult control. And finally, the smartest boundary isn't loud. It's consistent. If you like calm, realistic long story times with receipts, clear timelines, and real closure, subscribe to the channel. That's what we do here.